Ever just stop and wonder what makes you, you?
Well, today, we're digging into that. We're going to unlock some of the psychological blueprints that help explain how we all become the people we are.
I mean, it's one of the biggest questions out there, right? And thankfully, developmental psychology offers some pretty fascinating roadmaps to help us start figuring it all out. Now, when we say theory, don't think of some rigid, stuffy rulebook. It's much better to think of each theory as a unique lens, Each one gives us a totally different perspective on human growth, a different way to look at how and why we change throughout our lives. So today, we're going to explore 3 of these major theories. And what's cool is that each one offers a completely different but equally important angle on how we develop.
All right, first up, behaviorism. This theory is all about the outside-in perspective. It suggests that our behavior isn't just random. Not at all. It's learned. It's actually sculpted by our environment through this constant system of rewards and consequences.
And the key person behind this is B.F. Skinner. He basically said, look, if you really want to understand why people do what they do, you have to look at 2 things: the causes of an action and, this is the big one, its consequences. He called this whole powerful idea operant conditioning.
You've probably heard of his famous experiments. Skinner would place an animal, like a rat, into what everyone started calling a Skinner box. So the rat's in there, and eventually it bumps into a lever, and boom, a food pellet comes out. This super simple action revealed an absolutely core principle. Behavior that gets a reward, well, it tends to happen again.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Reinforcement isn't just one thing. It works in 2 main ways. Positive reinforcement is the one we all know. You add something good, like getting praised for a good grade, to make a behavior happen more often. But then there's negative reinforcement, and this one trips people up sometimes. It's not punishment. It's about taking away something bad. Think about it. A teacher stops a detention once the class is quiet. The bad thing, the detention, is removed to encourage the good thing, being quiet. See? In both cases, the goal is exactly the same. Make that behavior stronger.
And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere, right? Especially in classrooms. Every single time a teacher hands out gold stars or uses a point system or even just offers a simple great job, they're using the principles of operant conditioning. It's that fundamental.
All right, let's switch gears and look through our next lens. And this one, it paints a totally different picture. It's called constructivism, and it basically argues that we're not just these passive blobs being shaped by our environment. No way. Instead, it says we are the active architects of our own minds, of our own understanding.
The main guy behind this game-changing idea was a Swiss psychologist named Jean Piaget. He had this incredible insight. Our minds are constantly working. They're like little construction sites, always building, sometimes tearing down, and then rebuilding our picture of the world, all based on what we experience.
So how does this mental construction actually happen? Well, Piaget broke it down into 2 key ideas. To see how they work, let's use a really simple example.
Okay, so first, the child tries to use what they already know. Think of it like a mental folder, or what Piaget called a schema. So they see this new animal, it's got 4 legs, it's got fur, it's got a tail, and their brain goes, hey, that fits in my dog folder. So they yell, dog. That's assimilation, just trying to fit something new into a box you already have. But then a parent says, nope, sweetie, that's a horse. Now the child's mind has a problem to solve. The dog folder doesn't work anymore, so it has to adjust. It accommodates this new information by creating a whole new folder labeled horse. And just like that, their understanding of the world has expanded. That, right there, is the engine of how we learn and grow.
Now, Piaget believed this whole process of building our minds doesn't just happen randomly. He saw it unfolding across 4 major stages. It's this incredible journey, really. We start as infants, learning everything through our senses, touching and tasting. Then we become preschoolers, totally lost in the world of pretend play. After that, as school kids, we start thinking logically about real things. And finally, as adolescents, we get the superpower of being able to think abstractly and ask those big what-if questions.
Okay, for our final lens, we're shifting focus again. This one sees development not just as learning facts or building concepts, but as a deep, emotional journey, one that's filled with key turning points and challenges. This is the powerful psychosocial theory from Erik Erikson.
So Erikson, who, fun fact, actually studied under Anna Freud, Sigmund Freud's daughter, he took things in a new direction. He shifted the focus onto our social world. His big idea was that at each major stage of our lives, we face a central conflict, what he called a crisis.
and we have to sort of navigate that crisis to develop a healthy, well-adjusted personality.
And you can totally see this journey play out at these key moments in life. For an infant, their whole world is about one question: can I trust my caregivers? Then, as a school-aged kid, you're grappling with feeling competent, or what Erikson called industrious, especially when you compare yourself to your friends. And then comes adolescence, with that absolutely monumental task of just figuring out, who am I?
What's so important to understand here is that how we handle these challenges is cumulative. It all builds on itself. So successfully figuring out one crisis, like learning to trust someone, gives you the psychological strength you need to tackle the next big one, like figuring out your own identity. Each step is a foundation for the next.
So let's just pause and recap. We've got 3 really different ways of looking at this. We have learning from the outside in with Skinner, we have building our minds from the inside out with Piaget, and we have navigating this whole emotional life journey with Erikson.
Which of course leads to the big question, right? So who's right? Is it Skinner, Piaget, Erikson? Which theory is the correct one?
Well, here's the thing. The reality is they all are. They aren't really competing against each other. They're complementary. I mean, think about it. Human development is just way too complex to be crammed into one single explanation.
The best way to think about it is that each lens gives us a vital piece of a much bigger puzzle. So behaviorism shows us just how much our environment shapes our actions. Constructivism reveals how we personally interpret and make sense of that environment. And then psychosocial theory explains our emotional journey through it all. But we can't forget, and this is something other thinkers like Bronfenbrenner really emphasized, that all of this is happening inside an even bigger context: our family, our school, our culture. It all connects.
So why does any of this matter? Because when you put these ideas together, you get a much richer, deeper appreciation for just how complex human growth really is. These theories aren't just academic, they're tools. They're tools that help us better understand ourselves, our kids, our students, and they really help reveal the why behind our actions.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, a question for you to take with you. When you look back at your own life, your biggest learning moments, your toughest challenges, those aha moments where everything just clicked, which one of these lenses, which theory, seems to explain your journey the best? What helps make sense of how you became you?